I'm Summer Morris, CPA, ex-corporate accounting girl and health coach turned CEO of a multi-six-figure business while helping others build financial security, healthier habits, and a better quality of life. It wasn't that long ago I lacked the confidence, the right plan, and time to focus on growing my small but mighty business, while also having time for healthy activities I wanted to pursue away from my desk. Fast forward past many failures and lessons learned, and you'll see the healthier business and lifestyle I have today. One that changes lives while giving me more freedom than I ever thought possible. I created the Fit to Endure podcast to share simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. So if you're looking to feel better, live a healthier life without blowing your budget, start a side hustle, or train for your next race, this show will help you make an impact and achieve your goals without creating the overwhelm and burnout that makes you want to quit. You ready? Let's get started. Hey guys, welcome to the Fit to Endure podcast. I'm glad you're here. So how's it going in your world? What's going on? For me, I've been focusing on serving my accounting and coaching clients. Finally signed up with an online swim coach. I say finally because I've been digesting his content, his podcast and his videos on YouTube for almost 2 years now. And so I'm finally going to be able to sit down and learn from his online courses. And the thing I'm really excited about is his video swim analysis, where essentially you'll record videos of yourself swimming or have a friend record the videos, both above the water and underwater if you have the camera that can do that. Then you take those videos, you upload them to YouTube, set them to unlisted, and then share a link with this swim coach. From there, he'll review your videos, create some refinement points, and then send that back to you. It sounds really cool. I'm so excited. I just uploaded the first set of videos this morning. So curious to see what he has me do other than where he says swim with fewer strokes. Anyway, the reason why I signed up is because I really believe in the power of coach and having somebody to, be able to see those blind spots that, of course, we can't see because they're blind spots. And 2 days ago, I did a big open water swim in the San Francisco Bay with a swim group where essentially, I think there's maybe 30 of us. We get on this little tiny boat and the boat takes us right next to Alcatraz. From there, we jump off the boat and swim about 2 miles in the salty, cold San Francisco Bay toward a place called the St. Francis Yacht Club. In the water, you just know it's the place with the big tile roof. And what's really rad about this experience is that a month from now is the Escape from Alcatraz race. And so this is essentially the same distance and similar location to where the big ferry will drop us off. Except for at that point, it's not going to be about 30 people. It'll be about 2,000 swimmers. That's right, 2,000 people jumping off about 2 at a time off a big ferry on purpose to swim about 2 miles in that cold, salty San Francisco Bay. Now, the 2 miles, it feels more like 1.25 miles or so, a little over a mile because of the way the currents are. But at the same time, it feels like you're swimming in a washing machine that's full of laundry and just splashing around. So it's a great opportunity to practice the yoga breathing, getting yourself centered, both before, during, and at that jump and in the water. So fun, right? If you want to join me, just shoot me a message over at the podcast at summermorris.com, and I'll send you a link to the group that does these monthly swims. So why am I talking about open water swimming today? Well, because I noticed others debating today's topic. What was interesting, though, is that prior to the swim, we all gathered in this location for about 30 minutes to go over some logistics of the swim and what have you. And at that point, some people decided right then to quit. They said, I'm not getting on the boat, forget this. Others made a compromise with themselves to get on the boat and see how they felt when it was time to jump, whether they would jump or not. Some other folks decided to jump, and afterward they said, nope, not for me. And they decided to quit at that point. And so I was wondering, when was the last time you found yourself in a situation where maybe you're rushed to make a decision like, hey, it's time to jump. What are you going to do? Or you've been putting off deciding what to do next in some area of your life, whether it's with a job or a side gig, maybe a relationship or a friendship. It could even be making the decision of whether to continue or quit a particular eating plan or exercise plan or an activity you do with somebody. Today, we're diving into the topic of compromise versus quitting and how to make the best choice for yourself. I'm curious, do you find yourself in a situation where maybe you feel rushed to make a decision, or you did rush to a decision and you're trying to decide what to do next? Well, my friend, today we're diving into the topic of compromise versus quitting and how to make the best choice for yourself. And as a bonus, I create a free downloadable handout that aligns with this episode. So if you're feeling the need to grab a pen and paper and take some notes, I got you, my friend. All you need to do is download the handout at summermorris.com/11. That's summermorris.com/ and the number 11. First, let's discuss the difference between compromise and quitting. So before we dive into the decision-making process, let's first recognize the difference between compromise and quitting. Compromise involves finding a middle ground or adjusting your expectations to reach a resolution, while quitting means letting go of a situation entirely. Now that we have the difference between compromise and quitting down, it's time to start assessing your values and priorities. When faced with a difficult decision, it's crucial to align your choices with your values and priorities. Once we've assessed the values and priorities, it's time to gather the data, looking at all the information we have now. We're going to identify what's working in the situation, what's not working, and how would you like things to be different? Once you have those, then reflect on what will having things different do for you. Now, if it's a customer or coworker, friend, boss, or personal relationship, essentially, if it's a human, can you get on the person's map? And what I mean by that is, can you imagine stepping into their shoes and experiencing what they are experiencing to better see their perspective and reasoning? For example, if you're finding the boss is just being a little too hard on you, what's going on? Are you finding that they're overworking and it's causing their temper to be short? Maybe they mentioned how they're having some health issues or trouble with one of their kids or something, that maybe whatever's going on that's causing friction between the two of you has nothing to do with you at all. You might just happen to be there as they're experiencing this uncomfortable situation, and some of it's being poured over to you. Is the situation temporary? Meaning if you're finding yourself with extra work at work, maybe when your coworkers is on vacation, maybe they quit or they're on maternity leave, and so you're left with extra work that they would normally doing. Is the situation temporary, that extra work? Is it something that there's a clear timeline, or you can find out from your boss or supervisor on, hey, how long am I going to be doing this? And from there, you can decide. And as you're gathering data, consider, are you part of the problem? And get really honest here. If you're finding friction or dissatisfaction in a relationship, whether it's with, again, a human, a software program, whatever it is, are you part of the problem? You know, maybe it's a software program that you just find, oh, this program sucks, but you really haven't taken the time to learn how to use it. Or a situation where you're finding yourself with extra work because somebody, one of your coworkers, is either on leave or on vacation. Maybe they quit and the position is either open for a new person to fill, or the person quit and the boss decided, we're not going to replace that position. You're going to get the extra work. Is it temporary? Also, are you sabotaging the situation? Meaning, are you doing something or not doing something that is causing this other person to act or not act in a certain way? I know there's been several times where I'll step back from some friction that I'm having with somebody, whether it's a customer, a friend, a personal relationship, and I look back and go, no, I'm part of the problem here. I'm actually creating some sabotage in this situation. Are you perhaps sabotaging your situation? Meaning, are you doing something or not doing something that is causing them to act or not act in a certain way? If so, I invite you to check out episode number 4, How to Get Out of Your Own Way by Overcoming Self-Sabotage, if you haven't. Lastly, as you're gathering data, and if this issue, whether to compromise or quit, is with another human, a question I love to ask myself, or I'll ask a coaching client if it's somebody I'm working with, is how does the person make you feel? So regardless of how good a person they might be, how do they truly make you feel? And would you be okay having this feeling with them in your life in the long term? So once you've gathered all the data, it's time to create some space for clarity. Decision-making can be overwhelming, especially when emotions are running high. To avoid rushing into a choice that you might regret later, it's important to make space in your calendar, your mind, and your physical space to allow for clearer thinking. This is where practicing yoga, meditation, and journaling, even for 5 minutes, can make a big difference. One place I regularly journal is in the ladies' locker room at the gym. Seriously, I pack a journal and pen in my gym bag, then post-workout or post-yoga class, I'll often notice thoughts or potential solutions to puzzles I've been working through, either related to business or personal matters. And being able to jot down a few notes or a potential solution can feel very empowering. Then later, I can reflect on those notes and decide whether those are the next steps to take action on or not. One of my yoga teachers back in the day said, "You practice yoga now for when you need it later." So for example, when I teach in a yoga class, we first start the practice with some slow, steady movements, some that are fairly easy to keep our breath with, the steady inhale, steady exhale. And as we move through some more challenging postures where maybe our breath becomes a little more choppy, rigid, uneven, is there a way that we can mindfully draw our breath back to that steady inhale and steady exhale we had at the start of practice? Because what I believe is steady breath, steady mind, steady body. And so just like at the start when I mentioned the open water swim, one thing I do is I practice yoga there in the water. No, I'm not doing down dog. Come on, in the water, that would be bananas. But what I am doing is focusing on having a steady breath, steady inhale and steady exhale so that I can calm my nerves and focus on the task at hand. Because I believe there's an action that happens, something that happens to us, like we jump in the water, and there's our reaction to it. It could be panic, it could be overwhelm, it could be, hey, I'm in the water, it's time to go. That's my reaction. And yoga can help us create greater space between our action and reaction. It's kind of like Neo in The Matrix. You remember Neo where he's like dodging bullets in slow motion? To me, that's his reaction, dodging the bullets and not getting hit, to the action being shot at. So to me, practicing yoga helps create that sense of slowness, where create greater space and clarity for those thoughts to happen. It's creating that slowness, just like Neo has, where he can do that gentle back bend to avoid the bullet. That to me is yoga. So block out time in your calendar or in your day to focus on this decision. Now that you've reflected on the nuances of compromise and quitting, let's walk through a step-by-step process for making tough decisions. But before we dive into the step-by-step decision-making process, where we're going to gather all the stuff you've already done, we've already looked at compromise versus quitting, and you've assessed your values and priorities, you've gathered some data. Before we dive into the step-by-step decision-making process, let's take a quick pause for a brief commercial break for my health and weight reset, which includes training on how to regulate your breathing and create greater pause when you're feeling stressed and anxious. When dieting and stress become unmanageable, try evidence-based tools to tackle weight loss and feelings of overwhelm in a healthier way with the Health and Weight Reset. This online group coaching program includes a simple, done-for-you eating, movement, and stress management plan, plus evidence-based tools, support, and accountability. This program is not about counting calories or portion control. It's not about buying special potions or packaged foods. It's about learning what works for your unique body and mindset and what doesn't, so you can feel better, have more energy, and become a better, healthier version of you. The program is risk-free with a 100% money-back guarantee that you will feel better after completing this program. Learn more at summermorris.com/reset. That's summermorris.com/RESET. Welcome back. All right, let's dive into the step-by-step decision-making process. First, define the decision. Clearly outline the decision you need to make. Break it down into as specific components as you can to ensure you understand the problem. Next, you're going to gather information. Collect all relevant information and data related to the decision. All the stuff we just did. This may also involve researching options, seeking advice from others, or consulting relevant sources. Now, one tip I have for you is that sometimes I find it really helpful to discuss an issue with somebody else. However, I'm not always seeking their opinion. I just want somebody to listen to me in that moment. And so if you're looking for someone just to listen to you without giving you their advice, let them know beforehand. And of course, you might find it challenging to have somebody listen to you without giving their advice. And if that's the case, pick up a journal. This is where it can be really helpful. You can use your journal as if you're writing a letter or conversation with the other person or the software provider, whatever it is, and then allow yourself time to reflect on your writing. Your written pages might provide some helpful insight. And if you do find that human that's going to listen to you, a good question to ask them is, how do you see me limiting myself in this situation? Again, how do you see me limiting myself in this situation? After you've done that, the next step, identifying alternatives, brainstorming and list potential options or solutions to address the decision. Once you've done that, we're going to evaluate pros and cons, analyze each alternative's advantages and disadvantages, consider the potential outcomes, risks, and implications associated with each of the options. After that, consider your values and priorities again. Reflect on those values and priorities and long-term goals. Then consider how each alternative aligns with what matters most to you. Then, the next step, make a decision. Yes, that's right. Make a decision. Based on all the information you've gathered and the analysis you've conducted, make a decision. Now trust your gut and choose the option that best aligns with your values and priorities. As Jack Canfield, the author of the book, The Success Principles, How to Get from Where You Are to Where You Want to Be, his first tip in the book, tip number 1, is take 100% responsibility for your life. That's right. Take 100% responsibility for your life. And here I'll paraphrase. If you want to be successful, you have to take 100% responsibility for everything that you experience in your life. Most of us have been conditioned to blame something outside of ourselves or someone for the parts we don't like. We never really want to look at where the real problem is, ourselves. And if you don't like your outcomes, it's time to change your responses. Next, take action. So we've made a decision. Now it's time to take action. Implement your decision. Develop a plan of action and follow through with it. Be prepared to make adjustments as needed. One thing I learned from somebody a few years ago is this person was in a relationship with somebody and they both loved and cared for each other, but they were on the fence on whether they were going to get married or not. And she wanted to get married. He was unsure. And so what they did was they said, okay, on this particular date, maybe 6 months, 8 months out, it was going to be around, I think, their 3-year anniversary. They said, on this particular day, we're going to make our decision. That we're not going to waffle back and forth anymore. There's going to be a decision made on this particular date. And they agreed to that. Well, that date came up. They made a decision. And that decision was one person wanted to get married and have kids. The other one didn't. They enjoyed life as it was. And their relationship ended. Then some years after they made that decision, they ran into each other, I think at a big box store. And the person that wanted to get married was married. And in their shopping cart was their little baby. So knowing that if that person had decided to not make a decision and stay with a person that didn't want to get married, then they might not have that little baby that was just their bundle of joy. So after you've made a decision and after taking action, reflect on the outcomes of your decision. Evaluate what worked well and what could have been done differently. Then use this reflection as a learning opportunity for future decisions. Now remember, all these steps are in the bonus handout that you can find at summermorris.com/11. That's summermorris.com/ and the number 11. By following all these steps, you can approach tough decisions in a structured and thoughtful manner while leading to more informed and confident choices. From gathering information to consulting trusted allies, each stage plays a crucial role in guiding your choice. By following these steps, you can approach tough decisions in a structured and intentional manner, leading to more informed and confident choices. So, I'm curious, how can you apply this framework to your next dilemma? Well, let's talk about embracing growth and self-compassion. Remember, Decisions are not always clear-cut, and it's okay to experience uncertainty along the way. I sure know I do. By practicing self-compassion and embracing the potential for growth, you can navigate the complexities of compromise and quitting with resilience and grace. How can you cultivate self-compassion in your decision-making journey? For example, you can use the 3 questions to aid in your personal growth. If you can make the decision over again, reflect on what worked, what didn't work, and what would you do differently? Well, my friend, thank you for joining me on this episode of the Fit to Endure podcast, where we explore the delicate balance of compromise and quitting in decision-making. Remember, every choice you make is an opportunity for self-discovery and empowerment. By aligning with your values, creating space for reflection, getting on the other person's map, and practicing self-compassion, you can navigate the complexities of decision-making with greater clarity and confidence. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, please click subscribe for more insightful discussions on personal growth and living with greater intention and ease. Remember, your choices shape your story. Until next time, take care and namaste.